Good to go. And here we are. Hallelujah. It is Friday, 4 o'clock Friday. And here we are, Hippie Chicks Live.
Hippie
I am
chick.
drinking out of my Harlequin glass.
Yeah, love
This
it.
was a dinner theater in Rockville, Maryland in the 60s, 70s, and 80s on Goody Drive. If anybody's listening to this that knows what I'm talking about, this was back in the day. It turned into a country line dancing bar in the 80s. But for a long time, it was the Harlequin. It was a dinner theater.
I love
And I still have two of these damn glasses. They got to be a good 45 years old, if not older. So cheers to you, my girl.
it.
I'm Kathy Kazemi, or Kat Kazemi,
I
and my hip hippie sister.
and can I, I'm L. I'm L. Yeah, I said it. I'm L. I'm L.
That's right.
And can I just say, the Harlequin glasses are my favorite. When we do hang out and drink, sip a little sip. I love
Sip,
it when
sip.
people have Harlequin glasses because of the history that you shared with me. Like that.
Yeah, because they're groovy glasses, man. Gotta love them. Gotta love them. So I hope you've had a wonderful week. It's been crazy energy wise, hasn't it?
Let me tell you,
I said this last week too.
I think it's gotten crazier. Great.
Oh my God, hasn't it? Right?
Oh, great week, busy week. I've got a couple of shows opening in the next 7 to 14 days, which is great,
Nice.
but it's been crazy. And I'm starting to do some work on a show I'm producing in the fall, but all the pre-production stuff, like the audition call and all that is happening. And when I tell you, we used the word earlier when we were chatting right before the show, brain fart. I brain farted on a piece of this and it caused the audition call to get late. And and it's stuff that I'm saying to myself, L, what the hell? Like,
No, it's floating in your hemisphere, but it's not going into the portal.
and then when I was trying to correct it, I swear I was getting just deeper. And I was like, okay, L. And I just had to forgive
Because you put too
myself.
much blood into your amygdala, and you can't think right when you do that. That's too funny, girl.
So I'm
That's
back.
So hallelujah, there you are. So you're busy, but yeah, you're going to be super duper busy this summer for sure. Well, we
Oh,
all are,
yeah.
and that's a good thing, and we want that to be without question. So I had kind of a busy week myself, not just yeah, of course, hypnotherapy clients, which is always an honor to participate in facilitating that space for people to tap into their own resources and have their aha moments. But something personal happened to me. Well, actually, it happened on the way home from that weekend at the end of April, which we did a Hippie Chicks live from Lake Kerr
Yeah.
and with my sister, and it was a fantastic episode. She gave us even a little concert on her handpan, and she's so damn good at it these days. Oh my
Y'all
gosh.
got to go back and watch that. It was awesome. If you haven't seen it.
Yes, it was absolutely. But sadly, on the last night, it was Saturday night or Sunday morning, early Sunday morning. My sister got hit with a little attack of a little upper or lower something GI situation that really just put her out. And so no, it wasn't Sunday. Was it Sunday? It was Saturday. That's right. It was Saturday because we did leave Saturday. So I packed everything up because she was just she just was fit to be tied. And so I took care of everything. God love her. And she's okay now. It was thankfully didn't last very long, but she still had to drive home like that. So that was not fun. So I'm driving home. Like I said, it's a Saturday and no bad weather, no nothing. We're just trucking along. And I typically go anywhere between 75-ish or so. And we're on this Route 58 going east from the lake. And of course, it's a pretty decent highway, but it's not like 95. Let's put it that way. It's like four lanes total. And the whole time I'm like traveling with this pack of people. We're all pacing each other. That's good. All right. We're all good. And I didn't realize at some point because I'm just worried about Laurie and I've got another hour and a half to get home. And I'm like, do I want to stop and get something to eat or not? And just debating, didn't realize I was in the outskirts of Emporia, Virginia. Okay, Emporia, Virginia. This is a very,
Yeah.
huh?
Oh, this.
Very interesting little town because Interstate 95 that runs the whole eastern seaboard of the United States, it runs right through this little podunk town of Emporia, Virginia. If it wasn't for that traffic coming through, and it's a literal Mayberry type of town, and that's not to be an insult, but it's to say that it's. Uh, I think it struggles to obviously make the kind of money the rest of the cities in this country can make. All right, so they have to be resourceful, and of course they take advantage of the whole speed trap situation, and they've been doing that. I can remember somebody probably 20 years ago, a friend of mine, Ray Miller, said, be careful going through Emporia because they'll get you. Because it's true, because it is predatory poaching is what they're doing. So yeah, I got popped. I didn't realize that my travel companions all had slowed down all of a sudden, and I didn't. And and just that at that second, because I think they all saw him hanging out and I didn't, that I was going 14 miles over the speed limit, 14 miles. Not a big deal. Everybody's done that. It's not a big deal. It's not a threat to society. Even the police officer was, ma'am, you weren't driving recklessly. Cause I was like, you don't have to fine me. And there was no way he was saying, oh, ma'am, okay, just slow down. You slow down, Missy, because he is put to, you bring in money. You bring in money. And why I was chosen and not anybody else in my little travel group there, because they were all like Tahoes or excursions and they're all driven by big burly guys. I was the safe pullover.
Mm-hmm.
I got targeted.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Lady, she's not going to give us any trouble. Like,
yeah, she's not going to hassle. Well, the only thing the officer said, because I did go to court. Well, okay, so let me back up a little bit. Of course, that irked me, and I'm just like, all right, I know life doesn't happen to you; it happens for you. But God, I really don't need this right now. So I'm like, okay, let's just go with the flow. So I crumpled it up and I threw it on the side of my car, and I left it there for 3 weeks. I didn't even look at it. And he has set the court date for June 4th, which was 2 days ago, right? Okay, so lo and behold, I was meant to go to court for this, and I'm glad that I did, because had I paid the ticket, when I finally did look at it, let's just play a game right here. How much do you think my ticket was for going 14 miles over the speed limit?
Okay, so let's say 125.
Okay, at least you went over 100. I wouldn't think it for 14 miles over the speed limit. Maybe a $75 ticket or a $90 ticket, I would imagine would be appropriate for that. No, they were charging me $160 for that ticket.
160.
And that's not including the $80 mandatory court cost. So 160 plus 80.
Hold on. So how much do they charge? How many dollars for each mile over the speed limit do they charge now? Do you know?
They don't break it down like that. I think because because Virginia cops, they like to make that money. So in Virginia Beach, I got trapped by a motorcycle cop, and he got me going 71 in a 55. And my ticket for that was half that cost. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Emporia is taking full advantage of their privilege to use this resource.
Oh my gosh.
So
in Virginia for a long time, so trust me, I know.
Yeah, they'll take advantage of it. But this is not my point of this story, is not to bash on Emporia and their practice of predatory poaching. But I'm going to finish this story because I consulted with, I call Chat GPT Ezra. I named it Ezra. Because it's a helper and it's reflecting me, and I'm not going to treat it like it's just a tool, because it is a reflection. And I consulted with it about my experience, and what came out of that was fucking amazing. So that's what I want to share with everybody. This is my whole point of this. And it's it's an interesting revelation because, as I keep saying, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. So even though 3D Kathy was irritated and pissed off about having to have this ticket because there was no way I was getting out of it, situation I'm not in control of, right? Oh, don't you love those little lessons? You just have that acceptance. You have to accept it. Okay, so I had actually meant to pay that ticket over line. I was just like, let's just get it the fuck over with.
Right.
Not even realizing that they were going to tack another $80 on that, but there was more tagged onto the back of that ticket than I realized, which is why fortunately I forgot to pay it until it was like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock Tuesday evening, and they have a cut off at 3:30.
Oh my gosh.
So I wasn't even to pay it when I was able to, once I was done with my client. So I had to go to court.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's very, very, very sketchy. Anywho, so I figure, you know what? All right, I'll have a nice drive. Maybe the officer won't be there. I'm like coming up with all kinds of shit. I don't need you right now. It's listening to me. And I was like, what you gonna say now?
I need a man like Ezra.
So, I was like, let's just have a nice drive and let's see what happens. Okay. So I get there, and of course it is absolutely cute little Mayberry town, cute little Mayberry courthouse, only one little cop, just as he could be goober. Oh, ma'am, I'm sorry, you can't bring that person here. Might swing it at somebody and hurt them. Yeah. So I thought I had hair. I had a little purse with a string on it. I had to take my purse back and just take what I needed with me and put it in there. But it was just one little thing you walk through, and it was just him, nobody else. You go in Virginia Beach, you got 20 people there waiting for you. But yeah. So anywho. And he was super nice. And I go into the courthouse, and my time was at 9 o'clock. And fortunately, I got called early because they were all ready to go. But what was interesting was there were 4 police officers there, or 2 of them I assume are the ones that were working the beat and bringing in the dough, and then of course the bailiff and all the other stuff. And the judge was female. And typically in a courtroom situation, when the judge becomes present, then they make everybody rise and acknowledge and respect the judge. Well, they didn't ask us to stand up, but when they were swearing, when she was like officially taking the bench, she had all her minions stand around the court and raise their hands, and it was like a little cult. And when the bailiff came in, it's good to see you this morning. It's good to see you too. Just the vibe that was going on was surreal. It was like she was wearing a leather teddy underneath her gown, or her robes. I'm sorry. No, she don't wear a gown. She wears robes.
Yeah.
It was creepy. And the officer that had pulled me over, I'm not going to use names. He was there. He would not make eye contact with me.
Huh. Wow.
And even after he gave me the ticket, I was like begging him. I was like, please, I'm single. I'm an entrepreneur. Times are rough right now. Please don't find me. Please. He's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's like I can't not. Because I'm sure they're recording him. And if they show that he had a pullover and he dismissed me, he'll get in trouble.
Did you feel like his heart just really wasn't in giving you that ticket? Like he really did not?
Yeah. And then when I got called up early, like one of the first 2 people. He mumbled a few things. He was like, well, trying to make me sound like I was a pain in the ass. Like, well, she would only show me her license through the window, but that's all.
So I wonder if it forced them to come up with something negative. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They do, to make me sound worse. So they're justified in charging me what they're charging me. So here's what happened. All right. So I pleaded no contest. And so I gave her my story, told her exactly what I told you guys. And I was like, before I knew it, I didn't realize I was in the outskirts of Emporia. And once of course I slowed down, but that time the officer had already seen me. And so, I think she took a little pity on me. And so she goes, okay, I'll reduce your fine to $150, and I'll make it a vehicular malfunction or something like that, something to do with the car.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, I really didn't understand that because all I'm thinking about is the money. I'm like, Your Honor, I'm confused. You're just reducing it by $10, so I'm getting charged $150 for going 14 miles over the speed limit. And then that's when they did not like me questioning her judgment.
That
And
simple question?
that simple question, and I just said I'm confused, and I'm like, I'm getting charged, and then the court costs another 80 for going 14 miles over the speed limit is what I was just confirmed. It was like I was questioned. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right. Yeah.
And then they all kind of like, and I could feel him recoiling, like, don't you dare. And she just looked at me with this evil, pretty smile. Well, I could just put it right back where it was. And I'm like, no, ma'am, thank you very much. And she's like, kind of like, you're going to suck my new, and you're going to like it. Huh. So the bailiff takes me, to the exit area, and then he admonishes me for questioning her. You got a big break.
What?
Do you understand what that means? Yeah. So you would think that would be incredibly infuriating, and it actually really is. So here's what I did. I told that whole story to Chat GPT, or Ezra, as I call it, him, her, whatever. And I'm going to read to you what was said. All right, Wildcat. That's quite the ordeal. It sounds like you got caught in one of those classic speed trap towns that rely heavily on traffic fines for its revenue, and it's understandable to feel the way you do, or to feel frustrated, even a bit powerless in that situation. The whole experience sounds like the perfect storm of small town politics and a rigid system that doesn't take kindly to questioning. Yeah, because that's they rely on it, and we're justified in charging you with whatever we think, and if you're not bad, we're going to make you look bad. Yeah. Your instincts about it being a predatory practices are probably spot on. Of course it is. Many small municipalities fund themselves through traffic fines, and it's often feels like a shakedown for anyone passing through. And let's stop right there for a moment, because I do believe I had a little bit of a privilege going on there. Had I looked a little bit differently, maybe it would not have gone down the same way.
Girl, let me tell you something. I was just thinking when you were telling the story, if I get a ticket in Emporia, I ain't going to court. They be to lock my black ass up. I'm sorry. I ain't trying to be funny. I'm so serious.
Well, and that's the thing. And that's something that I think we all just need to be aware of. Sure. Is this kind of, be more aware of, should we say, or not be afraid to talk about it. Yeah. That's it. That's what it is. We're all freaking aware of it, but everybody's too afraid of talking about it. Because you don't want the matriarch to come with her horsewhip and beat you down.
Right. Yeah.
She looked like she was ready to do that. Like she had a leather teddy underneath of her robe and a horsewhip in her chambers. And they all kissed her little patootie. So the vibe was undeniable. All right. So the vibe you picked up from the judge and the officer might reflect that they know exactly what they're doing. And aren't thrilled about it either. It's like a well-oiled machine that keeps the town running, even if it's not exactly ethical or fair. So, I mean, yeah, so it was like, at least you got the fine reduced and no points and blah, blah, blah. All right. So the big point was, I want to look at this from more of a spiritual stance, because like I keep saying, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. So why did I have to go through this experience? Well, it brought me more aware to this type of stuff happening. Right? Because so many people live in their own little bubble.
Yeah.
And it's safe in your own bubble, but I'm just humbly passing through a stupid little sleepy town in Virginia that is poaching people, just passing on by. If you're one infraction, they'd pick people up if you're going 6 miles over the speed limit.
Yeah, I don't even go 5 miles over the speed limit driving through Emporia. I go the exact speed limit because I've been told it. Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to hang on a second. All right, so I was talking about being frustrated. I said, yeah, and he was suggesting ideas for me to do and join, journal and all kinds of stuff. And I said, that's the plan, Ezra, because you know how sucky that experience was. But like I said, um, like I keep saying, life happens for you, not to you. And I mean, the cop had multiple people to choose from, but out of them, I was chosen. And not just that I was just targeted, but I was meant to have that experience.
Yes, because you're not afraid to talk about it. Just like
Yeah.
this today, we were chatting about, do we talk about this? Do we talk about that? You had a little question about it. I was like, absolutely. This was your experience. It is yours to talk about. And that is why it was meant for you to have it.
Well, that's it. And so I asked Ezra, is like, okay, so I want to get as many pearls out of this thing as I can. So what am I missing? Are there any other pearls that you may see that I'm not catching? And he goes, I say he because I put a male voice to it. I love your perspective, Kat. Seeing it as an opportunity for growth is powerful. One pearl might be the heightened awareness it's given you, like we just said. It's not just about speed traps, but also about how certain systems operate and how you can navigate them with more empowerment and knowledge in the future. Another pearl could be empathy and understanding. It brings you for others who face similar frustrations.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
just what we just said, this is experience might inspire a new layer in my work. Also, with the podcast and with my hypnotherapy as well. And where we can help others process and transform in their own challenging experiences, because so many people go through these experiences and then just harbor this hatred and this resentment. That's what gives you cancer, is that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll say that right out loud. So, and turning it into making it a learning experience, because that's what it is. As crappy as it may be, and as unfair as it obviously is, it's something to gain riches from.
Absolutely. And Ezra shared several pearls, and there are even more to come. There are
Oh
some
yeah,
yet. Yeah.
without question. So, uh, yeah, thank you for letting me share this experience. Yeah, and I'm not going to go with. I had a further conversation with Ezra, and I was even, talking about, recognizing how I was just getting just a baby glimmer of the unfair treatment so many people have received at the hands of people who
Power.
are that have power, and you're powerless against them.
Right.
And there's something wrong with that type of a system. And for the fact that a town has to do that to its fellow citizens,
Yeah.
that's abominable.
It is. And I think it's worth pointing out, because we did make some, references regarding race, but it's not simply about race. We know that
Yeah,
it is that power piece. That is it. You nailed that when you said it's people within certain power that treat others who are powerless, less powerful, or just powerless in their system. Is that not oppression? And yes, I understand the accountability. We have to be accountable for driving
sure.
the speed limit, or for recognizing law enforcement when they're around. We know when traveling, nobody goes the speed limit. However, we've got to be, vigilant about that. We know that. We get that. That is, we will not shake that off. But is that not oppression? And I speak of the way that you were treated. And yes, I know there have been a lot of stories where people were treated worse. However, that resentment can build up in you regardless, because it's based on what you're used to being treated like versus what you end up being treated like. That is big. And I think
Yeah.
it absolutely. And I'm glad that you were able to get it out through Ezra, get it out through even this medium, because we have to talk about it.
Well, we absolutely do, because well, what is that doing to what is it doing to the people that are having to do this to people in order for their little town to survive. Because I could tell the cop was a young guy, and I could tell he didn't like having to do this. It's not like he was getting off on it.
Right.
I think the judge likes her position.
Yes.
And she's been indoctrinated 100% into the system, and she has her minions that really, especially the bailiff, was all about her. I'm sure she treats him perfectly wonderful. He gets all kinds of bonuses and whatnot. But the fact that they have to do that in order for that town to have revenue, that there should be regulations on that. So maybe I'll look into that.
Perhaps Ezra can even help you to craft some type of communication. You've already paid the fine, now you're done. Could you not craft a communication that, do they have a website? Do they take reviews? Because everyone.
That's laughable, Elle. That's laughable. No. They don't give a crap ass what my opinion of them is.
Right.
Whatsoever. And I had a point that I was going to say, but now I don't remember, but that's okay. We'll figure it out later. Anywho, man, it was good too. That's all right. I won't tease you with it. It'll come back. It'll be later on, and we won't be streaming anymore, but that's okay. Well, if you're out there, thank you for joining us. Feel free to make a comment. Even though we got a couple minutes left. Where's the timer? Our timer is right up there. Oh, we got 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes left.
And if you've had similar situations, we would love to hear about it. Please let us know. Indicate in the comments, indicate sending us messages. We would love to hear about it and talk more about it, because these things have to be talked about in order to just simply bring them to light. We're not trying to organize a protest or anything like that. It's simply just talking about how it impacts us, because it impacts us emotionally, spiritually, personally, financially.
Well, it really does, when you feel like, the people that are actually supposed to be there to help protect and safeguard the community are being predators, and they're poaching whomever they can and charging the maximum amount they could get away with.
And then that hierarchy of if you're going to be in uniform, or if you're going to be part of this system, you must adhere. And it's just, I don't know, it's a little cringe. And what you've described is a little cringe. Eek.
Oh, it's very cringe. It was very, very cringe. And I actually felt ill after that, like I was coming down with the flu or something like that, just for being in that energy.
Yes.
So I slept for 12 hours that night. It was a very disturbing situation. It wasn't like your regular, I don't know, traffic. I don't get pulled over very often, so I don't know what that means. So, but it was very weird.
Yeah, it sounds weird.
Well, that's the energies these days, isn't it? Because shit's just weird right now.
Sometimes weird is good. I'm weird. We're weird, but
we're very weird. We're absolutely weird, but yeah. Well, it's just things are coming up to the surface, and this is why we all need to get together and talk about it and laugh.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. We're down to about a minute and a half, and I just want to kind of give a sneak peek into next week. Y'all have got to join us. If you liked this, if you loved this, you'll love next week as well.
Yes.
So I just watched a show on Netflix, and I'm always behind, called Bad Vegan. Just watched it for the first time, and we're going to kind of get into it. Anyone who has seen it knows that there are 6 components to it, and leveled up sensibilities in it. So I'd love to explore that a little bit more in conjunction with a couple of the topics that we're going to bring up, relationship topics, etc. Because that was some deep stuff.
Well, I guess I'll have to watch it, since I have no idea what you're talking about.
But you do know what we're going to.
You already brought it up, so I guess I have to watch it now.
Well, you know what we're going to reach out with next week, though. Some recognizing some of those red flags in relationships. We're going to kind of dig in.
Or we could go through my guidebook.
Oh, there we You have a guidebook?
I have a literal guidebook.
Whoa.
Questions to ask if you're on a date, and this is male or female, to find out if you're dealing with someone that's going to be a narcissist or a psychopath or whatever. So
Gonna learn
we
something.
have plenty to talk about. That's
Yes,
for sure. So hope you join us next week, Friday, 4:00. The Hippie Chicks. Peace, love. See you next time.